This week on the Chronicles, we will be reviewing Clash of Histories in the South Caucasus, redrawing the map of Azerbaijan, Armenia and Iran by Rouben Galichian. Shaping national identities, nation building and establishing territorial claims are some of the themes explored in this book. The book also concentrates on ethnicity and cultural heritage as especially powerful symbols for territorial claims, a process exemplified by the Republic of Azerbaijan's state-sponsored invention of its own national identity. To give us an analysis of the book, we interviewed Geographical Sarkissian, researcher at the Armenian Institute in London, who began by discussing the geopolitics of the subjects covered, as well as the author's focus on cartography as an important research tool.
Gagik, thank you for joining us on the Chronicles. I know you've read the book and studied the maps, and you know the author, which is why we thought you'd be an ideal guest to talk us through some of the issues that Rouben covers in his latest book, The Clash of Histories in the South Caucasus. Now, obviously, he's put a lot of effort into this, and he expresses a very firm view. What did you make of his intentions for this?
Well, I applaud his intention, because I think he was trying to put the record right as far as the geopolitical situation in Caucasus is concerned. And I do fully support what he's doing, because not many people have tackled this question in the past, or if they have done it in a very, very subjective way. I think he's tried to remain objective in his book.
Do you think what he says about the history that he writes here, will that be widely accepted, do you think, or do you think it will be challenged?
I think it will be widely accepted by historians, because he's basing what he's saying on cartography, on maps and also travelogues, ancient histories, etc. So his voice is not very prominent in the book. I think we have many other voices from the past supporting his viewpoint.
I think that's what's interesting about the sort of the pre-1918 chapters, the sort of then creation of Azerbaijan, the way he does quote numerous travellers going back to the 15th, 16th, 17th centuries who comment on what they've seen, which have been sort of airbrushed out by Baku, as it were.
In a way, yes. I don't really mind for a country adopting a name. Like, for example, Jordan comes to mind. It's a country which didn't exist before the First World War. It came into being afterwards. Now, there are people living in that country who consider themselves as Jordanians. They won't think of any other citizenship or nationality. I think the same thing goes with Azerbaijan, which was a name adopted in 1918 for that country north of the river Arax.
I mean, one of the things that fascinated me about the book, not just obviously the analysis that goes with it, but these remarkable maps. I mean, obviously the author, Rouben, is a very experienced cartographer. So
indeed, yes.
He can look at a map and see things that as an amateur one wouldn't. But it does appear that some of the more modern maps in Azerbaijan have been altered quite considerably to sort of prove the modern case.
Yes.
So I suppose it's a question of preserving these more ancient maps if historians of the future are ever going to sort out who owned what and who was where.
That's right, yes. I'm sure true historians in Azerbaijan themselves know what the truth is, but whether or not they are able to express and their opinion and maintain their current positions, it's another matter.
We discussed the book with author Rouben Galichian, who shared with us his reasons for writing the book, his background, and the obstacles he has overcome to write this book.
Rouben, we're going to talk about your new book, The Clash of Histories in the South Caucasus, but before we get to the meat of the book, tell our viewers a little bit about your back history.
Well, my background is that I was born in the northwestern Iranian city of Tabriz in an Armenian immigrant family. Later on came to UK to study engineering. I went back to Iran, worked for a number of years, and just happened that just after the Iranian Revolution, I was invited to work here. So I'm settled here with my family. From the childhood, from school age, first grade even, I was interested in maps and mapping and used to copy them and find maps, different maps of different atlases in Iran. And when I came to UK, I had a good chance to go to the British Library and the auctions and study them from close by. And I spent all my free time studying cartography, mapping, geography, etc. A number of occasions I've had libraries asking exorbitant prices from me, cost from me, for lending me just this slide of a map to have a look at it and return it. I've paid $150 for rental for 3 months for a slide of a map. I won't tell you which country. But when I was in Iran, I went to Tehran, Muze Iran Bastan, and there was a map of manuscript map of Istakhri, 9th century, 10th century. And I wanted to see him, and they said, no, you cannot get it out of the box.
Really?
You cannot. So I said, I'll talk to the head of the museum. When he wasn't in, so I wrote him a letter that I'm so-and-so, I'm preparing these books, and I would like to have a look at this map. And if possible, I'd like the copy of the such and such map from this book. In about 2 weeks' time, I received a CD with the whole book copied on it.
Oh, really?
High quality.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And saying that you're free to use it whenever, whatever in a manner you want.
Yeah.
And these are two contradictory sort of policies that I've met.
Rouben develops his point by explaining the background and history of the lands of the Aras River. He goes on to discuss the formation of a new country, the Republic of Azerbaijan, and the country's struggle to identify its sense of history and national identity. In Chapter 1, he states that its adopted name, Azerbaijan, had never in the past been used for the territory occupied by the new nation, being taken instead from the province situated just south of the river in the neighbouring country of Iran.
I just wondered a bit, Rouben, why you felt it necessary to write this book, because you are trying to sort of put the record straight on a number of bits of history, if you like. Was that something that was irritating you felt a story needed to be
Well, when
told?
I was researching maps, I noticed in many maps sort of political influence when drawing the map borders, etc. But when I started looking at the maps prepared by Azerbaijan, it was completely different world. There was not a single map that was correct, politically correct, historically, or correct geographically. And for instance, in the historic atlas of Azerbaijan, the territory from Dagestan, this is north of the Caucasus Mountains, down to Ghazvin and Hamadan in Iran are called Azerbaijan. There's no name of Iran, there's no name of Armenia in those maps. This was rather irritating, and I thought to go after it and find the reason that these have been made.
Are these old maps that have been altered, or are these sort of post-1918 maps that have been created to keep
These are maps prepared by Azeri historian cartographers recently.
Recently, yeah.
Mainly in the Republic of Azerbaijan, independent Republic of Azerbaijan. The old maps you cannot alter. Even the Islamic maps, which date from the 10th century to the 20th century to the 19th century, do show the true names of the countries lying there. Yeah. And this got me into the historical archives, so to speak, and into the old history. You know, the territory north of the Arax River historically was Caucasian Albania. In Farsi and Arabic, it's called Aran. In Armenian, it's Arvang. However, this was from north of the river Arax, and from the Arax River to the north, not to the south. Yeah. And the real Azerbaijan is the south of the river Arax, which was the Iranian province since time immemorial. And the old name for that territory was Lesser Media. And during the time of the reign of the Alexander the Great, the territory was named Atropatene after its military leader in his honor. This name Atropatene gradually evolved, turning into Arabic, Azerbaijan, Azerbaijan, and Azerbaijan finally. And this is the reason of the existing name south of the Arax River.
So roughly the name of the country that we will know as Azerbaijan, which was created in 1918, before that, what would you have regarded as the territory that they would now call their country?